start welcoming them in now.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi, everyone.
Anna.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Welcome.
Okay, well, I am inviting more people in as we go. I'm just gonna get started so we can stay on time.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our 10th Lunch and Learn. This is the brainchild of our chairman of the board, Todd Hoff, and it was his idea to have these weekly lunch and learns so we can hear from a parent, a professional, community leader, so we can all stay connected as a community during this time. And I can't believe it, but it's already been 98 days since we've been in shelter in place. So thank you to everyone who's been joining us each week. I'm going to kick it off by going through our Zoom rules. So mute yourself when you're not speaking. We recommend speaker view for presentation. Video sharing is optional. We love to see all your friendly faces if you'd like to share, but it's totally optional. And then please type any questions into the chat. Because we will go over that, address that at the end, near the end of the lunch and learn, and I'll help moderate the Q&A. So now I'm going to go over a small update of what HPF has been doing during shelter in place during this time. We've, since March 10th, we have reached over 271,000 through our social media, which is incredible. Thank you to everybody who's helped us create videos and really boost our reach to everyone all over the country. So this is through all of our social media platforms: LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. This is a total comprehensive number. And then our posts have been shared over 475 times. We have created, from our community, we've gathered over 149 impact videos on our YouTube channel, which is incredible. So if you haven't already subscribed today, we post on a daily basis. We definitely want you to, it's a great way to stay connected. So definitely subscribe if you haven't already. We've posted 110 of those videos we've gathered since March 10th, which is absolutely insane. So thank you to everyone who submitted videos to us. One of those videos we do weekly series is our Reading with Autism Tree series. So a volunteer reads a children's book for our kids and families. So far we've had 24 videos and reached over 25,000 people. We have provided over 59 virtual events to date, program events for our kids and families, and including our lunch and learns as well. And we have 12 events coming up between now and July. And we're gonna post a couple more. I got some confirmed today, so there's a lot that's gonna happen on our calendar. So definitely keep connected with us. And we also now provide 17 out of our 20 programs on a virtual basis, which is virtual. So this is amazing that we're able to transition this many programs. So now I'm going to pass it off to our Executive Director, Dana Hoff, and she's going to introduce our 10th Lunch and Learn special guest.
Hi, TPF family. So nice to see everybody. I just wanted to tell you first off how grateful I am for each and every week that we've been together, and how remarkable it is that we've been together 10 weeks now. I feel like without hesitation, it's been the one thing I could point my finger to, what seeds that I've been planting during COVID-19 is these lunch and learns. Like once a week, these are the seeds that I've been planting, and I feel really grateful when I've asked a question these last couple times and you guys have been able to type something in, and I get to see you, I get to hear your voice, hear your thoughts. It's really brought it alive. So my question today is, what seeds have you been planting in faith during COVID-19? It could be anything, but this Lunch and Learn is definitely the weekly seeds I've been planting. And I feel so blessed by it because I get to see many of you from the East Coast. I get to learn from you. I'm hoping someone will type in anything about what seeds they've been planting because I love seeing any thoughts that you have. We have been building for months, really. And even before COVID-19, I had done an inspiration this year that I'm building on, which is we all have 724 trillion cells in our body. And it's fully incredible to think about that, how unique we are, how it makes everything possible. And I like to always bring that up on each Lunch and Learn because I value each of you. And I really want you to take a moment to just be in gratitude to yourself for all the roles that you're playing in your life, your mothers, your caregivers, you're doing so many things. Every person that is on this call right now is a builder, is a giver. And I personally couldn't be more grateful to each of you for making the time when I absolutely know I think we're collectively exhausted. I would completely admit that. If I was to admit one thing I'm feeling today the most is just cellular level exhaustion. I'm just admitting it. But I look forward to the Lunch and Learn with you, and I look forward to of course seeing your faces on here, but also hearing you and learning from you. And each week I've kind of started doing, sharing personal things that I'm going through with the hope that it helps you in some way personally. That is the intention. And I give you great respect that I feel a lot of trust here to be able to do that, because when I'm really going through a lot of things personally, I don't really talk. I really don't. I just kind of become a little bit nonverbal and get through it. So I'm extraordinarily grateful to you. I'm also grateful to our Autism Tree team. Lisa is on vacation this week, and she'll be going on maternity leave in August, if you haven't noticed through these Zooms that she's really, really pregnant. And so Rebecca, I want to thank you for really taking it on today and doing a great job. I know it's a lot not having Lisa with us. But I want to take a moment in my introduction to Helen and Vincent to say it was a lot reflecting on what they mean to me personally and to the foundation. I think I need you to go back a slide, Rebecca. So this quote is, "Don't dig up," it should say fear. Can you, it's not doubt. "Don't dig up in fear." It should be all caps. Sorry about that. But it's really important. When we send this out, it's really important that you know that the quote is, "Don't dig up in fear what you planted in faith." We can move on from that slide, but think about that. Don't dig up in fear what you planted in faith. And I absolutely was drawn to this quote, period. But in using it to introduce Helen, because Helen, I'm so grateful I get to tell you today in introducing you that you personally, Helen Ghio, was the person who kept me from digging up fear during the time where we went from having our office in our home in Point Loma to moving the office in 2011 to the office where it is now. And that was a really dark time for me with health issues, and my light was out and my voice was gone. And Helen was my light. Helen stood right by me and had just every step in getting the office that we have now. And on the other side of me was Kathy Hoff-Moore, Todd's mother, who just passed away. So it was a lot to reflect on this. This is an important part of our Autism Tree history, going from running it out of our house to moving it to an office in 2011. And the big catalyst was me kind of shutting down and having to give myself time to heal. And I could not have done it without Helen. And it's so important that we realize we're human, we're unique, we're all in different chapters, and we can't always have our light on. And what I'm grateful for during COVID-19 is this Lunch and Learn. I'm hoping that you see a light in me, because that's really been something I look forward to, is I feel like maybe I can be a light during this time when it's been difficult. And I want to thank Helen in my introduction for not letting me dig down and get caught up in fear and let go of all the seeds that had been planted in faith at that point, which were years and years and years of Autism Tree seeds. So I love that quote. Again, it's don't dig up in fear what you planted in faith. And that's a quote I'm going to keep with me. And today, I just couldn't be more blessed that Helen and Vincent are doing our 10th Lunch and Learn. And I feel like they've all been building on each other. And we just started really using pictures and recognizing what has our speaker brought to the foundation. And the Ghio family has been such a huge part of the foundation for since really the beginning. And Helen has been one of our strongest parent mentors. She's also started the advocacy program. She's a special education attorney, as well as she's an expert in real estate and so many other things that helped us during our getting the office that we have today. And then Vincent, it was so fun for me to think about our JetBlue meetings and how you were sitting at the table with like 8 people from TSA and the airport, and it was just a large group, JetBlue, and you literally shined and blew everybody at the table's mind that knows everything about the airline industry, because you're just so knowledgeable. And what a gift that it's been that you have been the center star and voice behind the JetBlue Horizons program that has helped so many families that have trouble flying and going and seeing loved ones. So I just can't tell you how much I'm honored to have everybody here on this Lunch and Learn get to meet Helen Ghio, if you haven't met her, and her son Vincent, and how extraordinarily special they are, and how much their personal efforts, their personal passions and talents have really helped Autism Tree get to where we are today. And I just want to say how I love you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dana, so much for the very generous introduction. And I appreciate all the kind words you just said. It was very humbling and flattering at the same time. And I hope you know that I have the same fondness for you, and am so grateful for all the opportunities that Autism Tree has created for Vincent and myself, especially letting him shine in the Blue Horizons program, which helps families to travel in air travel. That's sort of his forte, and his extra special area of interest. Air travel and train travel, those are things that he's passionate about, and he loves to share that with other people. So Vincent, if you could adjust your screen a little bit so people can see your beautiful face. I'll just say a quick word about what's going on with Vincent. He turned 18 this year. So lots of big, exciting changes have gone on in our family. He's now an adult, which leads us to think about the future, of course. We've been thinking about it for 18 years now, and then planning next steps. He just graduated from high school. He actually was enrolled in 2 high schools this year, so he got 2 graduation celebrations. And obviously, you've probably seen on the news and everything, they couldn't do the traditional commencement ceremonies. So both high schools did it very well. Point Loma High School had a really nice car parade on Shelter Island, which was super festive and fun. Everybody decorated their cars. And it was just a beautiful day, and so much, I would say, more fun than a traditional commencement ceremony. And then his other school, where he's been attending since 8th grade, the Winston School, it's a non-public school that specializes in learning disabilities and just students who've had challenges in traditional classroom environment, and they really know how to teach. It's very specialized in individualized learning there. And they made their graduation ceremony extra special. They had a little parade, Channel 8 was there, and they made each senior feel extra special and appreciated, and acknowledging how hard it is to have missed out on their prom, and Winston's class trip to Canada got canceled, and other activities that seniors normally would be participating in around this time of year. But I think Vincent had fun. Vincent, do you want to chime in and say hello?
Hello.
What did you think about your two graduation ceremonies?
I thought they're pretty cool. Point Loma was really fun because I got to see a bunch of friends as we were driving by, and there was so many people, and there was like so many supporters and all this stuff. And then my Winston graduation was a little bit extra special because not really people know about it, and not many people know about it. It's kind of like in the middle of downtown Del Mar, and it's going to be featured on the news tonight, which is something pretty cool.
That's great, Vincent. Thank you. So let's see. Trying to think about our speaking points for today.
So Helen, I have a question for you. So
Yeah.
what has worked to help you and Vincent during shelter in place? And kind of how are you adjusting, and are you adjusting anything now that there are restaurants and beaches starting to reopen? Is that changing your schedule? What kind of strategies have you been using that have been most helpful for you two?
I would say my first instinct was to say to fall back on the traditional parenting. If you have a child with any kind of behavioral issues or have done therapy, etc., you want to fall back on routine. Let's create routine and structure. So I would say at the beginning of the pandemic and stay-at-home order, that's what I was trying to do. Calling up all the behavior strategies I learned over the years. Let's try to keep on a schedule and routine, etc. So over time, since we've been at this for 3 months now, I finally just surrendered and yielded and accepted that what's working best for our family, and I can't speak for everybody, is just going with the flow and just kind of letting it happen, and not feeling so anxious about what's going to happen next. So that's kind of it. And it relates to everything, every part of our day, every part of our week and the month, planning things, etc. But my two kids, I also have a daughter who's 16 and goes to Point Loma High School. I've been kind of letting them stay up past midnight. During the traditional school year, we would not have that luxury. But teenagers, they like to stay up late, and I don't know what they're doing, watching videos and stuff. But I'm just letting it happen, and then let them wake up when they want to wake up, instead of feeling like you should be up by 9, or let's start our day, etc. So I think that's been good. I think teenagers normally, they want to have that independence. They want to take control of their own lives. And so I've been allowing that, and you know, being at home instead of going to school every day, it has in some ways has been a blessing to let them feel like teenagers in that regard. Of course, they're missing out a lot on all the social interaction with their friends and everything. So there's you know, things that they're missing out on, but then there's things that we're just letting it happen. And just a short while ago, Vincent and I were talking about, I asked him, we used to get up at 6 a.m., you know, oftentimes it was before the sun was even rising, and I would wake them up. I would make them breakfast because I wanted to make sure they were nourished for the school day so they could focus and everything. I'd usually make them some eggs and toast and bacon and whatever. But since we've been at home, they've been making their own breakfast. So Vincent, do you want to chime in and tell me what you think versus me preparing your breakfast versus you preparing your own breakfast?
Well, with me preparing my own breakfast, like sometimes like there's like sometimes like I don't know what to have, or I can't find things, or I just sometimes I can't even just decide. But then whereas when my mom made breakfast, I kind of like basically kind of wouldn't get tired of just having the same thing.
Thanks, Vince. So I'll take that as a compliment. I think he's saying that he liked it when I made him breakfast. But so now this being at home has given him the opportunity to be more independent in that regard as a teenager, preparing his own breakfast, because that's what he's going to be doing in the future too, right? What's another thing? What's a thing that, Vincent, that you miss about school, going to school every day?
Well, one thing I missed about school was taking the bus, and just actually being on the school campus, because a lot of because I'm pretty sure all the seniors kind of miss, you know, being on school, seeing all their friends, and usually doing like a lot of like goodbyes before, and like kind of that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, missing all the friends, and he loved riding the bus up to school. It was like the highlight of his day, practically. But so I think now more than ever, during the school year, we've got homework and everything, and tons of schoolwork and activities. But now that we don't have that, they spend a lot of their time on the screen. I'm going to be upfront with that. And normally I would be nagging them or restricting their screen time, you know, get off your videos, stop playing your video games, turn off YouTube, etc. But so you know, they've been allowed to do a little bit more of that than usual. I'm sure many other families are probably experiencing the same thing as us, but I've been just kind of letting it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been hearing across the board from our families with older kids that they're, you know, letting go of a lot of things and letting that structure go, and letting their kids structure their days the way they want, and letting them sleep in more often. Definitely, it's really helpful to hear that, you know, we're not alone in all that. And everybody can, you know, type any of their questions in the chat as well, if you have any specific questions for Helen and Vincent. I have another one that I can just kind of keep it going. A lot of our parents right now are curious about teaching life skills to their kids during this time. Kind of like time management, organization, budgeting skills. Is there anything like that you've been practicing with Vincent, and any skills that you want to pass, or advice you want to pass on to any of our families during this time?
Let's see, life skills. I feel like we've always been working on many of the life skills, And fortunately, Vincent's at a pretty good point. He can manage public transportation very easily. He hasn't been doing that for a few months, but he can get around on transportation because that's something he's interested in. Financial management. Okay, so he has gotten some graduation gifts from family members, let's say. Little graduation cards with a little bit of money in it. So it's just a matter of talking with him about it, how to use your money wisely, and just primarily saving it. You always need to save your money for rainy days. So we make it a point to either go down and visit Raymond Seamus down at our bank. He's our family banker, and deposit it. Go through the act of depositing your money, and then feel good about saving that money and letting it grow. And then you get to keep a little bit, and you can spend it on Amazon and get a video game or something. But we've gone over back and forth, like, save 75% and spend 25%, or save 80%. So I would say financial money management is definitely a challenge. There's that impulsivity of money burning a hole in your pocket and wanting to buy stuff on Amazon right away, but we're definitely something we're working on, and we try to model good, sensible money spending.
Awesome. Thank you, Helen. So we have a question from Jennifer Sabine. She says, "Hi, my son is a mild to moderate second grade classroom. I asked that he be retained in the second grade, but the school denied my request and is promoting him to the third grade. They stated that he will be better served by an additional year of life skills at the end of the 12th grade rather than repeating the second grade. I asked for more clarification explanation, but they wouldn't provide any. Can you help me understand what this means? Thanks."
Okay, so retaining him, well, first of all, you don't have to agree with them, with the school. You're I'm assuming you have an IEP, and you're part of the IEP team, so your input counts. We have not been through that particular situation personally as a family, but what I'm guessing is under the IDEA, he could be eligible for school-based services up until he turns 22. So it sounds like maybe they're assuming that he might be eligible for services past 12th grade. I don't really know your personal circumstances, and retaining kids is not something I hear of very often. Usually the school district wants to just push them along grade to grade. So I don't know. I would say I'd probably need more facts and everything, but some advice would be to talk to a special education attorney, or an advocate, and don't be afraid to speak up with the school, and just remember you're an important part of the IEP team, so your input counts, and don't let them bully you around.
We're definitely going to do a follow-up email as well, and we can include Helen's her bio and her email address, if it's okay with you, Helen, including your professional address. So you can reach out to her if you have any further questions as well. We have more questions. One from Sandy Anderson. Vincent, what are you going to pursue anything in aeronautics?
No, so in the fall, I will be starting Mesa College, and I will be studying retail management with classes in hospitality management, and I got accepted into this program called College Ticket, also known as a C2C.
Wow, that's fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, I should probably have mentioned that. We should have mentioned that earlier. So after graduation, going to Mesa College, and if you guys haven't heard of C2C, which is a program through the San Diego Community College District, I believe other college districts have similar programs. It provides some academic support, but the focus of the program is to get students into a career or profession, some kind of long-term employment. So they help provide the steps leading up to that, including coursework. Some students might do a certificate program, some might get an associate's degree through the community college, or some might even transfer into a four-year university. So there's a lot of there is some transition planning, I would say, involved in that program, where they're doing like career interest inventories, a lot of that kind of stuff, trying to figure out what are your strengths, what kind of careers would be good for you, or appropriate for you, and then they can provide internship opportunities along the lines of what your area of interest is, and then try to get you into a paid job, within 2 years, or whatever it takes. And that involves a couple of state agencies here. We were referred to the program through Regional Center. Vincent has been a consumer of Regional Center since he was an infant. And then this year he became a consumer of the Department of Rehab. So the Department of Rehab partially funds the C2C program, and the program is through the San Diego Community College District.
I would love for you, Helen, to email me some of these links that we can include in the follow-up email for some of these parents if they want to learn more about CDC, and that all of that transition, any other transitioning resources. I know that'd be really valuable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually didn't know about the program until the Regional Center just mentioned it to us, and that was the first time I had heard of it, and we were lucky to. It's a competitive process to get into it, and he was accepted into it, so we were very fortunate.
That's amazing.
Awesome, Vincent.
Yeah. Sandy also had a follow-up question. She said, I wonder if Colm would have an internship at the airport. So for everybody who doesn't know, Colm Marmion is part of our team that puts our Blue Horizons program together. He works for the San Diego International Airport. So maybe that'd be a fun internship opportunity.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Another follow-up question. Do you have any advice for other parents of teens or younger children for coping during this time and kind of moving forward?
Mm-hmm. That's a complicated question. Okay, for younger kids, I can't really speak to that because I haven't experienced it myself. So my kids were little, when there was no pandemic and we were free to go to the zoo and stuff like that. I am a strong believer that everybody benefits from good nutrition, good sleep, and getting outside. Go, enjoy some sunshine. Even if they don't want to, I drag my daughter outside, my teenage daughter, force her to go on a walk with me, and afterwards she's always in a better mood. And so I think that really that's important, getting outside, as long as it's safe, you're not in a crowd of people. And then for teenagers, I don't know, I think each of my kids has managed the whole pandemic thing very differently. My daughter, who's normally super social, kind of shut down and hasn't been social. and it doesn't feel right. I really want her to, connect with her friends and everything, but to her, it's everything feels so unreal that she just, I don't know, not motivated to connect as much with her friends as she normally would, and under normal circumstances. But I'm trying to take my kids' perspectives, like, what was I like at their age? How did I feel at their age? I wanted to be left alone. I definitely didn't want my parents nagging me. But I wanted to feel secure. And I think they really draw on that feeling secure and safe. And I think that's what we need to do, is to make them feel secure. And in some ways, I always joke about, okay, well, my kids are 18 and 16. So when does the toddler phase end again? Like, when do they grow out of it again? I forget. Because sometimes they still, teenagers, they can act just like little babies sometimes, and they need that. And the schoolwork was hard. They don't want me to be their teacher. They want me to be their mommy, and make them feel like everything's going to be okay, everything's going to be safe. And I think it's paid off, just trying to, don't freak out about the pandemic. Let's be sensible and let them know everything's going to be okay. And then I think it's really worked.
Yeah, thank you. One of our moms on here, Tamar, she said, "Thank you, Helen, for saying that. We need to get our kids out. My teenager just doesn't want to get out even for a walk. It's been such a challenge."
Mm-hmm.
Is there any follow-up advice you want to give her on how to incentivize?
Okay, well, I think Vincent, do you want to chime in? You had a piece of advice you told me earlier.
Okay, so this was kind of from a song I heard, but how can you have any pointing if you don't eat your meat? What it's kind of saying is it's kind of like an incentive. So like something someone could say like, oh, if you clean your room, then I'll take you to get ice cream, kind of thing. So like if you're gonna walk with me, then I will, give whatever. I will do whatever.
Yeah, and another analogy is carrot at the end of the stick. So I don't like the idea of it. Like, I have to bribe my kids to get them to do things, like, okay, you want me to go for a walk with you? What are you going to give me? Or something like that. Well, I will turn your screen time back on if you, after you go for a walk. I just try to remind them of how good it makes you feel. Go for a walk, and then we can talk about I don't know, something that they're interested in. I always try to listen to things that they want to buy on Amazon, or not that I want to spoil my kids or anything, but keep in the back of my mind, what are they interested in? What are they're dying to do? Dying to go practice driving, or dying to do this or that. Save those things, and then you can use that for negotiating later. I don't know if that's sound advice, but that's, that seems to work for us.
I know. It's funny you touched on everything, because I was raised by my dad, who was like, we don't spoil you guys at all. So initially it's harder for me the reward system is hard for me because the way I was raised, but it does work. It does work. So I told her today, if we go for a walk, then we can go to Nuyo frozen yogurt. It's only takeout because of the COVID situation, but it's nice. It is literally across the street from our house, so it's easy. And we just order, and it's fun, to get the toppings, and okay, and then we can go. But yeah, I understand about the reward system, but I like how you said it could, keep a mental note of what they like and what they don't like, and what kind of drives them. It makes sense. And it could be something as simple as, hey, we're going to go for a frozen yogurt, or we're going to watch a movie, your favorite movie tonight. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have to cost a lot, but I appreciate you saying that, because that has been one of my challenges. she just doesn't want to get out of her room, and it's
Mhm.
because she got used to just being at home now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And also the praise too. Don't, like after the walk, then, we reflect back on the walk. Ah, that felt so good. I really enjoyed our time together. Thanks for coming with me. I really needed that. So I'm always big on the positive reinforcement, the verbal praise part of it too.
Bobby
Thank you.
Helen just she chimed in. She said you can try geocaching.
Geocaching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which makes walks fun. Bobby, do you want to share anything else about that? Oh, hold on. I'm gonna unmute you. There we go.
Are we good? Okay.
Yes.
I actually used to do this with Vincent, if you remember, many years ago with the
Yep.
boys group. And geocaching's fun. It's an app that you have on your phone, and people hide things around the city, and they give you clues. So you go out and you hunt for those items. You can also start your own and hide your own things too, but it's a really good motivator. And exercise just kind of happens, and you also work on a lot of skills, directionality, reading directions, ton of problem solving, because people hide these things they make it hard to find.
Like a scavenger hunt.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've never heard of that. Thank you. I'll look into it.
It's fun. I also used to walk with a young guy up at Torrey Pines, and for exercise too. And we made a game. He often wouldn't say hello to people. So we made it a game. I gave it a point space. And I would try to beat him to saying hello to whoever we passed on the trail. Well, as soon as I assigned it points, that changed everything. So by the end of the walk, he got way ahead of me on points because he made a point to say hello first before the other person could. And it was really fun. And he realized by the end of it that he really enjoyed greeting other people and having them respond back to him. So again, it worked on social stuff and getting that exercise in. So that's kind of a fun activity too.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Tamar. I love both of those tips. Those are wonderful. I'll include those in the follow-up email too. I'll research the app, whatever that is. Okay, we are 3 minutes left. If anybody wants to unmute themselves or raise their hand or type a question in the chat, we'd love to hear your feedback or thoughts or any questions for Helen and Vincent. I'll give you guys a minute. Dana, is there anything you want to add to what we've discussed so far?
No, I'm really, you know what, Helen, I'm really impressed. I think, it's good. One thing that makes the Lunch and Learns, I think, valuable is everyone being really authentic and really honest. And I think it gives everyone a collective sigh, like, okay, I can kind of embrace this in a different way, because if we try to do what we've always done the same way, it's a fail for each person. So I think you did a really good, it was really valuable to have you articulate what your life's been like and what it's, what you guys are doing. I don't really have any questions. I just think I personally feel like it's that, it gives me a sense of calm knowing, okay, what you're going through too, because we're all going through it together, but sometimes it's nice to hear individual strategies and, and Bobby adding in. I'll add in that I think, it's not a kids thing. It's like, how do we as adults make sure we get out? And I feel like sometimes I'm in the mood to go somewhere with my husband or not, or, or I want to get Garrett out of the house. He's 20. So I don't think these strategies just apply to kids and teenagers. I think they apply to ourselves. What kind of motivates me is to walk somewhere for lunch that's pretty. So me and Garrett kind of do that quite often. we'll decide if we want to go to Little Italy or Pacific Beach, and then we'll try to make it a pretty good walk. And then we don't mind Ubering home as like a reward, so we can like go on a long walk and then eat a good lunch and then Uber home has been something we've done quite a lot. And I think each family, like you said, you just have to embrace each person and let everybody be in the space they are, given the situation that we're in every single day is very fluid. And I know a lot of people have, I don't know how you feel, Helen, in your house. Are you guys intense about masks? Like that's an ongoing thing for us. And part of it is because Todd works at a hospital. But I know, a lot of children that are like in our own family, they're little, and it's overwhelming for little tiny kids like toddlers to see you in a mask. It's really so I don't know if you have any feeling about that in your house, just within your own family.
Mm-hmm.
It's an ongoing thing for us, for sure. You know what I mean? Like how we feel. Todd and Garrett are much more sort of like intense than me. I don't feel like I have to wear my mask every second if I'm outside and the breeze is blowing. I have it with me. If I come towards people, then I put it on, but I'm not wearing it the entire time. Of course, when I'm at the grocery store, I am, I don't know how it is for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent and I, especially me, and then especially Vincent, I would say, we tend to be the rule followers. So, if they're required, we're definitely going to wear them, and we're not going to fight it. It really doesn't bother me personally. I do understand it's uncomfortable to other people. And what I've seen just on Facebook, and I don't want to get into the controversy of it, but people are so divided and so polarized over, to wear a mask or not to wear a mask. So, I respect everybody has their own opinion about it. I have no problem wearing a mask, and, I do try to make sure I always have my mask with me when I go outside. But I have been in situations where you're around other people and nobody's wearing a mask, and it kind of terrifies me. And you read all these stories about it really only takes one person to infect a whole lot of people, so that's pretty scary.
Yeah. Well, I think that's what we're talking about, is just being honest of like each family is probably a little bit different. Like Todd is more like you are, and when we've gone finally out after 3 months for graduation and seen friends, no one was wearing a mask, and Todd was having a heart attack, and I wasn't super understanding, and then I felt bad later, but we really haven't put ourselves out there too much. But I think it's interesting that within the family dynamic, everybody has a different level of stress about it, because it is part of our world right now.
Yeah.
Everywhere we go, especially if we're going to a restaurant or a grocery store.
Thank you, Dana. I'm gonna wrap things up. We're a little over time, but I just want to be respectful about everybody's time. Thank you again to Helen and Vincent for being our guest speakers today. We really loved chatting with you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in this week.
And don't leave yet, Becky. You have to take a group picture of everybody.
Okay, great. Everybody
I can
smile. I will do it. 1, 2, 3. Perfect.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you for having us. It was great to see everybody.
You too.
We'll see you next week.